Hi everyone, today's topic is how to adapt in a new country. My name is Roger, Roger's One and Adventures, and today I am with Debbie Espli, who lives in Quebec. Like me, she has a YouTube channel. Please check the link below. And by the way, be sure to subscribe, like, and share. How to adapt in a new country. How do we fit in when we are an expat? I am a French expat living in the UK, and I have been doing so since 1990. Deb lives in Quebec. It's how to adapt in a new country. How do we do it? Do you want to say a few words maybe? And then
I was 11, so it's a little bit maybe different experience because right away we started school, and so I was in a social environment. But I came from Utah, which is in the Western United States, and I had a very strong accent. And so my first day of school, the teacher asked me to stand up and talk about Utah to the class. And I started talking, and nobody had ever heard anybody speak English like this before. And they started laughing. And I was so embarrassed. I just stopped talking and I sat down, and I didn't open my mouth for a year in public after that.
Hi.
So, so you have these unexpected things that happen to you, and it's just, you don't know what's going to happen. It's a totally new experience.
Absolutely, I was going to say, so when you talk about Utah, where you came from in the first place, in English, does that mean your class were taught in French or was it?
Well, I went to school in English at least until university. So I was speaking to my class in English, and I didn't speak French when I came here.
Right, okay, but no, you do. Yeah, you do speak.
Yeah, but yeah, I started learning it because in Quebec, everybody learns French. It's part of the curriculum from day one, from your first year of school.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, people have English. So you imagine. Okay, so my own experience really when I first came to the UK is that first of all, when you go to a new country, you need to accept it's a new country. Acceptance, I think, will make your life a lot easier. If you accept that there are differences, if you accept that people live differently, if you accept that people make friends in a different way than you do at home, then your life is going to be much easier. Okay.
Yeah, and the foods too might be different, and the habits, and how easy or hard it is to make friends. Some cultures are much more open, others are more reserved. So yeah, all of these things, I agree with you. You need to accept them and look at the positives.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at the positive. Yeah. And then obviously when we first come to a country, then usually you notice the differences. One of the differences I've noticed is that in this country, when people say hello to each other, so I came to the northwest of England, yeah, because there are differences between the northwest and the south of England, because there is a divide, south and north, because quite interesting. So there is a divide, yes. The first things I notice is when people speak to each other or they don't shake hands. That took me aback a little bit because I was thinking, right, okay, so how do they create contacts? How does it happen? And because they just tend to say hello and that kind of thing, and then keep some kind of distance. And then you sometimes have to get to know somebody really, really well before you are even accepted in the circle of friends and stuff like that. So it takes quite a bit of time. And I also notice it might not be true all over the UK, but people tend not to invite each other for a meal at home. In France, it's commonplace. We just invite each other, and that doesn't mean we are in people's shoes 24/7. It just means that we just invite each other's place. So, for example, if you and I were in France, then I probably would invite you for a meal at my place, and then you might come with a bottle of wine, or whatever, or you might return the favor called 2 or 3 weeks afterwards, or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But and I have not seen it happening a lot here. Saying that it may depend on the. Some people say it does happen, so I believe them. Yeah. So maybe it's a class thing. I don't know. I'm not too sure. Possibly, but that took me aback a little bit because, yeah, so for example, I live in the area where I live, then the neighbors are nice, but the only people I went to in their house is next door, just behind, that's the only one.
Okay.
And then it's not even very often, it's every now and then, but that's really the only one. I haven't been in anybody else's houses around here. Okay, and I found that a bit, took me aback a little bit.
It can
So
feel unfriendly, but it's just the custom. They're just more reserved maybe, or they make their relationships through work or through school or through clubs or something, and not necessarily because you live next to each other.
no, that's true. So for example, here, but that just takes me to the next point. I would
Hmm.
suggest people who go to another country, like the UK, for example, is to join a community group to
Yes.
learn, for example, about sports. So I joined the table tennis league in Bolton. More about a year or so afterwards, I came. Uh, oh no, a lot longer than that. It's in Bolton. Not when I came to this country in 1991. It's when we moved to Bolton. When Gwen was still with us, my wife. We moved in 2000. Yeah, 2000, and I joined the Bolton table tennis league
Oh, okay.
in 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I just missed 1 year, but obviously, and this year too, because obviously of the pandemic, local sport can't meet, uh,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do miss the encounter. I do miss going and
Yeah.
and have a night out, you know, putting a good fight out there on the table tennis court and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I agree with you. I think, especially when you move to a new place, it's so important to join clubs or community groups and start to get to know people, get out in the community, do things, because otherwise, it may be hard to make friends. And without friends, your existence will be very lonely, and it will be harder for you to adapt. That way, it
Absolutely.
will help you integrate into the community.
Into the
Yeah.
community. And my friend had just written a book. Jeff Weston is part of my table tennis team. He's a team captain. Actually, that's his second book, and he's a good writer. Actually, that's why he wrote.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's funny. That looks like a funny book.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This side, ringside, and down in the table tennis dance. Yeah, and then he has written lots of articles and stuff, boxing.com and that kind of thing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
apparently, I am mentioned in that book as well quite a few
Oh,
times.
really? Oh, so now you're famous.
So that's nice. And my friend Scott, I have to let him know he's also mentioned in this book. But yeah, he's a good writer. But
Hmm.
and then there are people of all walk of lives in table tennis. But yeah, I do miss that. So it's more difficult at the moment because of the pandemic. But whenever you
Yes.
can do it, I would suggest, yeah, please do join a community group like a sports club, a chess club, a coffee morning group even. Yeah, if you
Well,
do.
and I think now they have online groups, like you can find local groups in your area that meet
Absolutely.
online.
Yeah, yeah, and actually that's a good point you're making because I'm doing a lot of Zooms during the week, probably at least one a day.
Yeah.
At least one a day, yeah. But yeah, it's a good way. These people who invented Zoom, the clever.
I'm very grateful we have the technology we have as we go through this pandemic. It would be so much harder if we didn't have the internet and ways to
Oh,
connect with each other. It
yeah.
would be so much harder.
Oh, it will be so much harder, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful, you're right. Grateful I joined the over 40 YouTube group, which is great. So on the flip side, I think I would say the pandemic has created some positiveness here because without that, maybe I wouldn't be speaking to you this evening or today. It's only 3 o'clock here in the UK.
That's right.
Yeah,
No, I agree. It's
yeah,
like the whole world is connecting in a way. Like sometimes I'm on Zooms with people from India and people from the UK and people from the US and Australia. And it's like we're sort of becoming one community in a way, which is really nice to have that contact with people from all around the world.
yeah. I think it's great. I really do like it.
Yeah.
I think it's really great, and we're learning a lot of things. But yeah, so
Yep.
community group, but either online or offline, then you can start building relationships with people out there. So that's what
Yeah.
I would do. And then this pandemic is giving us the opportunity to connect with people from all over the world. So that's a good way as well to learn about different cultures.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
So, for example, mentioned earlier, I noticed when I first came to this country, people don't kiss each other unless they know
Yeah.
each other very, very well, but they don't. So I thought, oh, right, how do they, or shake hands? So how do they, right? So to me, people were like robots. Well, not quite, but that keep my distance.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know you yet, so I keep my distance. I don't know you are. Yeah, yeah. And then, but the French case, I mean, depending on where you are in France, it could be one on each cheek, or two, one, two, and three, or one, two, three, and four. It just depends where you are. Even
Yeah.
French people get mixed up with it sometimes. Yeah, yeah, the French. Yeah, and then but I believe in Quebec people do that.
Yes, they do. Yeah, we'll do two. It's not, you don't actually kiss the cheek, you just kind of touch your cheek to the other person's cheek.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
you might do a little, but you're not necessarily kissing.
No,
And yeah, so they'll do one, then the other. And we do that in Quebec. But in the rest of Canada, people don't greet each other that way. So I have an automatic habit now. When I'm in Quebec, I will do that. But when I leave Quebec, I just say hi. And people don't shake hands that much either,
right. So
unless it's a very formal occasion,
yeah.
then like, or a business occasion, then you might. But yeah, so it's kind of similar. I guess that's the French influence in Quebec that we
You mentioned
kiss.
like it's not really a kiss. I suppose it's a gentle kiss, I should say.
Yeah, a gentle kiss.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
a
good
gentle
way.
kiss, so rather than a big
That's right.
so yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the differences. So no shake hands, no kisses, and I haven't seen as many people inviting each other's houses than I have seen in France, who you are making friends with. So I'm not going to argue with that. Yeah. So that's what I would say. But we have to accept it's different.
That's
And
right.
if we don't accept it, we are going to be miserable. And if you still don't accept it, then just go back to where you come from. I would say.
Yeah, and you will be struggling with just feeling unhappy if you don't accept it. It will increase your unhappiness and not help you adjust.
So
Yeah.
guys out there, if you have any experience about going to a new region, even in your home country, you may have to adapt from the north to the south or vice versa. Yeah, or even going to Scotland. Habits, I'm sure, are quite different to the rest of the UK. Same in Wales. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and please leave any comments below. Let us know whether how your experience was about how you adapted yourself to a new way of life. Whether you moved from England to Scotland, for example, or from Wales to Scotland, or from, I would say, from the UK to France. Yeah.
Yes, that too. Yeah.
It may be a bit more
Yeah.
difficult in the future because of the restriction on the freedom of movements, but I would say probably still possible. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, please tell us about your experience, how you overcome it. I'll be very interested to know how you overcome all those obstacles and
Yeah.
adapt yourself. Okay, so I would say bye for now, and then see you the next video. And by the way, please do not forget to subscribe and like this video should you find this interesting. Okay, guys, so see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.